Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about human heart. Basically I have divided this concept into two parts. First is about information of heart and second is about its working. Now this concept is going to be useful for 10th standard since it is given in their syllabus. We'll study about the information of heart. Now human heart is a muscular pumping organ. Now blood has to travel in each and every direction in the body. That is why it requires a pumping organ to pump out so that blood can reach to each and every parts of the body. So human heart is first point. Human heart is a muscular pumping organ. Second, it is covered by a membrane called as pericardial membrane. Now human heart is almost as size of a human fist and on an average, and it weighs almost 360 grams. Heart is divided into two parts, the left and the right part, because two types of blood is circulated in the human heart, that is oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. When I say oxygenated blood, it consists more of oxygen which is required by our body, and deoxygenated blood is already used by the body, so it consists of more of carbon dioxide, and never in the lifetime both of the blood is getting mixed with each other. So it is very useful in mammals especially since they require high amount of energy so that they can get more and more supply of oxygen. If you see carefully in the diagram, the heart is divided into two parts, that is left and right, and further it is divided into two more parts. So we get at the last we are getting that human heart consists of four chambers called as the upper portion. If you see, it is called as atrium, the right and the left atrium, and the lower part is called as ventricle, the right and the left ventricle. So human heart consists of four chambers. The diagram of this particular is very important. Also it comes for usually 2 or 3 marks in board exam of 10th standard. Now this was everything about information of human heart. Let's study about the second concept, that is working of human heart, and it is little bit complicated, so I want you all to pay total attention towards this. First, the right atrium is receiving deoxygenated blood from a large veins called as vena cava. It is coming from various parts of the body where the oxygen is already used. So the right atrium is receiving deoxygenated blood which is coming from various parts of the body, and it is brought by large veins called as vena cava. On the other hand, simultaneously left atrium is receiving oxygenated blood which is coming from the lungs. It is brought by 4 pulmonary veins. So the right atrium is receiving deoxygenated blood and left atrium is receiving oxygenated blood. Later, when the atria contracts, both type of blood is poured into respective ventricles. So right ventricle receives deoxygenated blood and left ventricle receives oxygenated blood. The deoxygenated blood, which is of no use for our body, later from the right ventricle it is going again into the lungs for purification, for oxygenation, so that later it can be used. Again, the right ventricle, which was consisting of deoxygenated blood, from there it is going into the lungs for oxygenation, and left ventricle, which was consisting of oxygenated blood which is useful for our body, from there it is being carried to various parts of the body so that it can be used to produce energy. So from right ventricle, deoxygenated blood is entering into the lungs for oxygenation, and from left ventricle the oxygenated blood is going into the various parts of the body so that it can be used for producing energy. Now there are walls between the arteries and ventricle which prevent the backward flow of the blood. It does not allow the blood to flow in backward direction. That is why there are walls present between the arteries and ventricle. So if you see properly this particular answer, you will notice that the deoxygenated blood at the first place, when it had entered the right part of the heart, again it is going into the lungs, and after oxygenation again it is entering into the left part of the heart. So one type of blood, it is entering 2 times in the heart. So it is called as double circulation. Here your answer of working of heart is completed. In actual this way the heart is functioning, and this working of heart is very very important along with the diagram. So if you notice, all and everything is possible for the mammals and for other living organisms for producing more and more energy because they are getting plenty of amount of oxygen, because the heart is divided into four chambers.